I know exactly why you're here. Don't even try to deny it. They're still in your head, aren't they? That person. A phantom limb of memory, still aching, still alive. You never planned this, but you crashed into someone, and then the world tilted on its axis. The way their gaze locked onto yours, the way time stretched and shimmered. You felt chosen, electrified, like the universe finally shoved you onto center stage with the script you'd been waiting for all your life. It wasn't just a spark, it was a wildfire, a Hollywood ending custom-built for you. Their laugh became a melody you could live inside forever. Their eyes, an impossible homecoming. You didn't just imagine a future, you inhabited it, named the kids, painted the walls, believed it down to your bones. And then, silence, no reason, no warning, just the rupture, the abrupt tear. They vanished, or you shattered, or the whole damn world just crumbled. And now they're everywhere they shouldn't be. They whisper from the lyrics of every melancholic song, the fleeting shadow on a stranger's face. The impossible hero in every romance film, always wearing their face. Carl Jung knew this pain. He wrote, "The psyche brings up what you need to become whole, whether you like it or not. You aren't broken for feeling this. You're not weak. Your unconscious isn't replaying this torment for no reason. Your obsession is not meaningless. It's the voice of something deeper, something trying to complete itself through pain." Stay with me. If you've ever woken up with their name burning on your tongue, if you feel their presence in moments they have no right to invade, this video might offer the clarity you've been silently craving. By the end of these 7 reasons, you may finally understand why they're still with you, and what that presence is truly here to reveal. And if you're drawn to this kind of depth, subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's begin with what's often misunderstood. You don't always get closure when a connection ends, because some endings aren't meant to close, they're meant to open something else. And that's why your mind keeps circling back. It's trying to finish what was interrupted. You may have felt a deep shift when you met them, as if something ancient stirred, but then silence. Timing failed, fear won. They left, or maybe you did, and now the psyche replays the encounter like an unfinished dream, waiting for the transformation to complete. Jung warned, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." But when that reaction is halted mid-process, you don't just miss the person, you feel haunted by an incomplete becoming. You sense that something was meant to happen, and it didn't. And so your inner world keeps turning back, not to romanticize, but to resolve. That was the first reason, the unfinished entanglement, or as Jung might have called it, the incomplete alchemy. Now let's move to something more subtle. Sometimes, what stays in your mind isn't just the person. It's the version of you that came alive in their presence. When the soul touches something true, even for a moment, it remembers its original shape. Their presence awakened a version of you that was alive, raw, unveiled. You saw yourself clearly in their gaze. You felt your voice soften, your laughter return, your edges dissolve. And now that they're gone, you're not just longing for them. You're grieving the self you were with them. Jung wrote, "We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life." They were one of those disguises, and your thoughts are not fixated on a person, but on a state of being, the state of recognition, the state of resonance, the state of home. That was the second reason. You're longing for the self you were in their presence. Let's go deeper. Not every attachment begins in the present moment. Some begin long before, inside the unconscious. Jung taught that within every man lives the anima, his unconscious feminine soul image, and within every woman lives the animus, her unconscious masculine soul image. These inner figures, when not yet integrated, are often projected onto others. So when someone appears who matches the shape of your inner soul image, you feel it instantly. They don't just attract you, they complete something. The feelings are mythic, magnetic, irresistible. But often they're not sustainable because they weren't about the person, they were about the symbol. Every man carries within him the eternal image of woman, Jung wrote, not the image of this or that woman, but a definite feminine image. If they mirrored your anima or animus, they embodied your deepest inner polarity, and losing them can feel like losing a part of your soul. But it's not your soul you lost, it's your projection. And once you reclaim it, you retrieve the part of you that gave them such power. That was the third reason. You projected your inner soul image onto them, what Jung called the anima or animus projection. Now we come to something harder to admit. Sometimes the thoughts aren't mystical, they're mechanical. They loop because something inside you was activated, not awakened. In Jungian terms, this is a complex, a tightly coiled emotional knot from childhood or trauma, waiting to be undone. The person who's on your mind might have triggered a familiar pain, abandonment, betrayal, shame, and now your psyche replays the scene, not out of love, but out of survival. Jung taught, complexes are the living units of the unconscious psyche. If the relationship touched a wound, your thoughts aren't about connection, they're about control. Your mind is trying to re-enter the moment and fix it, change it, undo the hurt. But it never works. Because this is not about them, it's about the wound beneath them. That was the fourth reason. They triggered an emotional complex still seeking resolution. If that one stirred something ancient in you, if it felt like a forgotten vow resurfacing, subscribe. We go deeper into these soul-level patterns in every video. But not every connection is about projection or pain. Some arrive like lightning, like fate, like prophecy. These are soul contracts, sacred collisions, people who awaken you at the exact moment you're ready to remember who you really are. Their entrance into your life is never random. The timing is too precise, the pull too unexplainable, the loss too awakening. They weren't sent to love you the way you wanted. They were sent to love you in a way you couldn't ignore. Carl Jung wrote that synchronicity reveals the meaningful connection of events, and some people are the event. If they came into your life with power, force, and mystery, and left you with nothing but a cracked open heart and a burning question, they weren't here to stay. They were here to initiate. And yes, there was a price. Because every initiation demands one, not as punishment, but in transformation. Some souls signed up for this before you could speak it, and maybe now, to complete the cycle, you must recognize the contract, see the hidden terms it carried, and walk the road it unlocked. Not for that person, but for the version of you they came to awaken. That was the fifth reason. They were a soul contract sent to awaken you. Now we arrive at the symbolic layer. Every person who lingers in your mind carries more than memory. They carry meaning. They represent something you haven't yet become, healed, or claimed. And the longer the symbol remains unexamined, the longer the mind clings to their image. It's not about moving on, it's about integrating the symbol. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, Jung wrote, but by making the darkness conscious. So instead of trying to forget them, ask, what were they a symbol of? Power, innocence, trust, mystery. If you extract the symbol from the story, their grip loosens because the psyche no longer needs them as a vessel. You've received the message. That was the sixth reason. Their symbolic meaning remains unintegrated. Now we come to the final and deepest reason. And this one may be the most sacred. You may think you're remembering them, but it's deeper than that. You're not just looking back, you're being called forward. Because somewhere inside, you still carry the self who dared to love without armor. And that self wants to live again. Jung reminds us, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. They didn't awaken something new. They reminded you of what was already there. And now, your soul wants you to return to that self. That was the seventh reason. You're being called back to the self that loved without armor. Now that we've walked through the 7 reasons, now that the mirror has been held up, let's close with what matters most. When someone stays in your mind long after the story ends, don't rush to erase them. They're not a failure. They're not a weakness. They're a mirror. And if you walk through it, you don't just let them go. You reclaim the part of yourself they came to reveal. I hope this video helped you find the reason behind the echo that brought you here. And if something in it stirred a truth you needed, leave a comment. Your story matters. Let it be seen. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, subscribe. The next video may unlock the next piece. Take care, walk gently, and until then, stay awake.